let's put all the opportunities we find in one place. And that was kind of how the blog was born, really.
Hi, Kimberley, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's all right, welcome. Thank you for coming on the channel. You're going to talk about London Playwrights Blog, which is, I guess, we can call it an initiative in some ways that you are part of. So before we get into that, tell us about you and also the blog itself.
So I'm co-founder and director of London Playwrights. My background is in playwriting. I started writing plays a long time ago. I'm from the West Midlands originally, and I joined the Birmingham Repertory Theatre's Young Writers programme. And that was a really amazing experience. And I think it really kind of taught me the value of playwrights being supported and having kind of opportunities out there for them. And then kind of, I started trying to put myself out there as an emerging writer, moved to London, did an MA. And I think London Playwrights really came as a response to that experience of working as an emerging writer and trying to get my work out there, really.
Right.
So I did an MA with my friend, lovely Alice Smith, and we both finished our MA in 2008, and we were out there, you know, trying to make theatre, trying to create things, trying to find those opportunities and that work as emerging writers. And we were just getting kind of frustrated, really, because it was hard to find information and it was hard to find out where those opportunities were. And she came to me with this idea, let's put all the opportunities we find in one place. And that was kind of how the blog was born, really.
And it started in 2012, did you say?
So it was the beginning of 2013. That's when we started rounding up all the opportunities we found into a weekly newsletter.
Right. So let's just dig down then on as to why you set it up in terms of, you know, the theatre trade itself. You obviously felt something. You were like, this isn't, I can't get to stuff. Were you trying to some sort of information aggregator? What was that? What was really going on?
Absolutely. I think we came out of our MA, as a lot of people do when they've done kind of playwriting courses and things like that, with all this enthusiasm and, you know, this desire to make theatre and to work as playwrights. And then we kind of felt that it was hard to there was a gap really between kind of coming out of these courses or just starting out, perhaps you've written your first play, and then finding out what to do with it. And I think we just felt there was a big gap there. It was hard to find the information. There were a few different websites, but there wasn't a place where you could just go and say, okay, this is where all the information is. And so that was where the idea came from, really. And we began by just finding all the opportunities that we could and putting them into this weekly roundup email newsletter. And from there, things just grew, because then people started to contact us with their opportunities and say, can you list this for me? And it kind of grew from there, really.
Yeah, I mean, I've used it loads of times. It's my go-to place, because I think I need to know what's out there. Oh, London Playwrights Blog. I know exactly, because you're so on it. You're so brilliantly listed all. And I don't need to search anymore, because you guys are on it. It's amazing. So in some ways, I guess it's almost taking down firewalls, isn't it? Because I think that's what you're saying when you come out of, it seems what you're saying is that you come out of university and you go, oh, where is everything?
Yeah.
And does that feel true to you? That?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was almost a feeling, I think, that there are opportunities out there, because you hear about, you know, when we first finished uni, you hear about people getting, you know, winning these competitions or having their play commissioned. And you think, well, where do I find out about that? You know, where's that information? How did they know about that? And I didn't. So I think that was the idea, really, that we could just put everything into one place. And as you said, that's exactly what we wanted to be, a go-to place where emerging playwrights could come, you know, find out where these opportunities were happening and start to put their work out there and hopefully, you know, get their work on stage, which is it's the aim, isn't it, after all?
Yeah, it's absolutely lifeline for me. And I tell lots of people about it as well, and I'll put a link on the bottom of the interview. So you've been running for quite a while.
Yeah.
I have a very particular question. How has it changed, like in terms of, and I mean specifically the landscape of playwriting initiatives? Have you sensed any sort of change in the 8 to 9 years that you've been running it, that you've spotted, you go, okay, right, this is actually happening in the market of playwriting initiatives? Has there been more? Have there been more ones with financial reward, or who knows? Have you spotted anything?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, there's been quite a few changes over the years. I think, firstly, there are more opportunities now. I don't know if we're just better at finding them, and people, as I said, people come to us with opportunities now as well. So, but I think there's more kind of the grassroots kind of fringe stuff. I think back when we first started, there was a real focus on those kind of big competitions. And now there's kind of lots of people out there kind of doing it for themselves and putting scratch nights on and showcases and that kind of thing. So it's definitely grown over the years. And then obviously, COVID, that caused a big shift really, because that made an increase in the amount of digital opportunities that are out there. So when we first went into lockdown, all of the usual opportunities that we list kind of closed because theatres weren't open. And then there was this huge surge in digital opportunities. So whether that was Zoom readings, when things opened up a little bit more, that turned into live streams, and then audio, drama, podcasts as well. So that caused a really big shift. Actually, during lockdown, although those opportunities, the usual ones, kind of closed down, the weekly roundup was bigger than ever. I remember kind of putting that together in the first few weeks of lockdown, and it took me ages because it was just so big, because everyone kind of responded to the pandemic with trying to still create theatre, from home. So that was a big shift, and I think that's kind of here to stay in a sense, although it's been amazing now to see things opening up and those live opportunities coming back. I think the digital ones are here to stay as well. There's still a lot of audio opportunities, and podcasts are a big thing. So that's been a big change. And then the other thing I've noticed actually is there's a lot more transparency around pay now, I think. There was an interesting kind of report with the Writers Guild of Great Britain a while back. I don't know if you saw that, but it was kind of exploring whether theatre playwriting competitions are sometimes an excuse for not paying writers. They're basically just getting kind of writers to work for free. And it was kind of talking about how to navigate that and what you should be looking for. And I think that lots of theatre companies, they've responded to that by making sure they are transparent about, whether it's a profit share, or if it's not, if it is unpaid, it's unpaid because no one's being paid. And a lot more paid opportunities are kind of coming through as a result of that as well, which I think is, it's really good. And it's great that these opportunities are now a bit more transparent and people can see what they're applying for and what they're going to get out of it as well.
Yeah, it's interesting you're saying that the frequency of playwriting initiatives hasn't kind of ebbed away. Like you say, it went up during the lockdowns, etc. And you think actually it's stayed. That's fascinating, isn't it? I wonder why that is, do you think?
Yeah, it's, I think there's definitely an element that when people started, kind of creating their version of theatre at home, maybe over Zoom or audio, audio dramas and things like that. It's very accessible, isn't it? And it's something that you can do on a very small budget. You can do it from home with very you don't really need much equipment. You don't need much to do that. So I think what it's done in some ways is broken down a barrier where people have thought, I've got a script, I've been writing for a while, but I've never had any work on stage, but now I can go and create this for myself. So I think there's definitely an element there that people are finding it a bit more accessible in that way.
Yeah, I always say that change comes from within. And it's something I've heard or stolen or borrowed from, from other people. But I always believe that there's something about change must come within. And it seems that London Playwrights Blog has actually been a direct reaction to that. The fact that you came out, you graduated and you were like, we need to get more information. And then you, in a lovely way, you then got that into an initiative called London Playwrights Blog. You actually then started to share that, go, hey, actually, let's put it all together for everybody. And then, you're changing things from
yeah, absolutely. And I think we really do respond to what's going on in theatre and what emerging playwrights actually need. Everyone who works on the London Playwrights team, everyone's an emerging writer. so they all know kind of what they're looking for and, you know, what would be useful to them. So I think that's how we can kind of respond to what's going on and create new things really that hopefully are helpful to emerging playwrights.
So talking about responding, I've noticed now the London Playwrights Blog is kind of venturing out into other things and workshops.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a kind of a vlog going on as well of some sort, where you look at books. You very kindly looked at my book a couple of weeks ago. So how is it growing now, and how's that all going?
So it's going, yeah, it's grown a lot. And again, it was just a response to people, the writers that we started to meet saying, you know, oh, I'd love to come to a workshop, or this would be really good. Or, you know, everyone talks about structure, but I'm not sure what that means. Is there anything you could put on the website about that? So it's definitely a direct response. We started a few years ago doing live workshops in London. We were part of London Writers Week, I think it was in 2016, so quite a while ago. And that kind of, we did some workshops for them, and that kind of sparked us off into doing live workshops. And then again, as a response to COVID, everything moved to Zoom. And that's actually been amazing for us in terms of the workshops, because we reach out to so many people now across the world. So obviously when we were running workshops from rehearsal spaces in London, pretty much everybody lived in London or the surrounding areas. But now when we do Zoom workshops, we have people from all over the world, which is amazing. And we have people contacting us, asking us to do workshops in different time zones and things like that. So so that's been a really interesting thing, and it's been great to meet emerging writers from everywhere. And then alongside that as well, we've got content that we put on our website. So things like online courses, resources, we have videos. We did a series recently where we interview literary managers and dramaturgs from different theatres. And we also have a submission window at the moment for our members where they can send their scripts in and get feedback on their work. And we also have an online book club for plays as well. So again, it's responding to all these ideas and just trying to create different things really that will be interesting to our members and subscribers.
Yeah, so you have a membership subscriber type situation going on, which people can see on your website, can't they? They can subscribe and stuff. Yeah, it's really interesting. Just kind of a bonus question or an observation. You're responding to the market every month, every day, whatever, and that's really interesting that you're finding that people still need more information, and you're out there and you're giving this information to them, like, so right, well, what is structure, etc., etc. And again, the change needs to come from within. It's grassroots change, isn't it? Because you know, larger funded theatres can, you know, let's say, attain to do this type of thing, but I don't think they actually do this type of thing. They'll do it occasionally, but not with the fortitude that London Playwrights Blog is you know, does. But have you seen any shift in any, you know, well-funded establishments or institutions that have started to go, oh, actually, yeah, we need to do that too? Or as you say that, you know, you're still the pioneer? Or
absolutely. I mean, I think the big one actually is the Royal Exchange, so the Brentwood competition, and they've got a fantastic website now called Write a Play, and they list opportunities on there. And that's brilliant, really, I think, because I think that it shows writers that, okay, we have this big competition, but we actually value all of you. You know, it's not just about this one or two winners of that competition. So I've noticed things like that, which is fantastic. And I think they've got courses as well. So, you know, I always think it's fantastic when there's more things like this, because I think, as you just said there, people are always looking for more, and people always want to be able to find that information. So it's great when we see more of it out there, because that, you know, it's brilliant for writers basically, and we can, you know, work with them as well to promote their stuff. They can promote our stuff, and all work together really to kind of make things even more accessible and easier for new playwrights.
Yeah. So what's the next step? As your final question now, what's the next step, or the next dream for London Playwrights Blog? Have you got a bit more of a extended plan the next 2 years or something?
Well, again, we do, you know, it is all about responding to what people need and also learning. So last year we did a big festival, which was fantastic because it meant that 10 writers got their work put on stage as a rehearsed reading as a result of, you know, the work that London Playwrights were doing. And that, although that was fantastic, what that made kind of us think for this year is actually, yeah, but we need to remember that we're an online resource and we can help loads of writers, not just those 10. So we've really been focusing this year on building those kind of online resources. So we've obviously got our submission window, we've got our online book club coming up, and then we've got a project called Learn with London Playwrights. That is basically it's going to be a collection of mini kind of audio podcasts that cover different subjects in and around playwriting, along with kind of a downloadable handout. We've got a few on there already, but the idea of it is that over time we can build this into this big compendium where emerging playwrights can think, oh, do you know what, I don't know much about building a character, I'm going to go on and have a look at that, or I'm not sure, you know, how to submit my work to theatres, or formatting. And the idea again behind that is really just making things more accessible, because not everyone did a writing course at uni, not everybody has worked in theatre, and lots of people come to our workshops who've got completely different careers. They're, you know, different walks of life, and they might have written a play and not necessarily feel confident when they're in a workshop with other people who, you know, have done a playwriting masters or things like that. So the idea is that, you know, we've got all the information there and it's accessible for people who need it. So that's kind of a bit of a big ongoing project that I'm hoping to kind of, that we can build over the next year or so, really.
Yeah, amazing. I'm going to put all the details in the interview below.
Thank you.
And so basically people can subscribe to your newsletter, which I think comes weekly, more or less.
Yeah, that's right. It comes every Friday morning. So people can sign up to that, and that will just come straight to your inbox with a list of all the latest opportunities and everything we've got.
Brilliant. It's just the thing that you go to your website for opportunities, and then they all come up, and that's kind of what everybody wants, isn't it? Like straight away, give me the money. It's easy straight away. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much, Kimberley, for coming on.
Thank you. It's been great. Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye. Thanks.